content related to that. So that is where social media has gone. And I can say that there's a huge difference between what used to be in my feed a couple of years ago and what's in my feed right now, which really speaks to the way I now use social media. So if you'd like to do an analysis for yourself about your use of social media, please think about what shows up in your feed. It's an indication of what you've been searching for on social media or on search engines, and what you've been talking about. Because yes, our devices have become more and more intelligent, and with AI, that's even getting more and more accurate. So let's start with this slide over here. In 2023, and this just being the beginning of April 2024, I don't have a slide, a picture like this for 2024. But in 2023, in 1 minute on the internet, these are some of the things that happened. 1 minute is just 60 seconds. And it's amazing what can happen in just 60 seconds. So in 60 seconds on the internet, 241 million emails were sent. 6.3 million searches were done on Google. 41.6 million WhatsApp messages were sent. Some of you can think about what you contributed to these 41.6 million WhatsApp messages sent in a minute, in just 60 seconds. Some of you contributed a recognizable percentage. 6,060 resumes were submitted on LinkedIn. And I hope, as emerging leaders, we know LinkedIn, we have LinkedIn profiles, and we are actually building, a presence on LinkedIn. 4 million posts were liked on Facebook by Facebook users. This includes users in Uganda, even as Facebook stays blocked. 60,000 tweets were sent on X. And 455,000 US dollars was spent on Amazon by shoppers. In 60 seconds, there were 30 attempts to hack. This is by cyber criminals. 6,944 users sent prompts on ChatGPT. So 60 seconds on social media is a long time. It's a lot can happen in 60 seconds. And the difference is using old tools and what was available to us many years ago. 60 seconds was such a short time. But on social media, 60 seconds is a very long time. And, for those of you, some of you could have fallen prey to posting something on social media and deleting it in a couple of seconds. But by the time you've deleted it, it has already been captured and it has been sent around. That's the power of social media. And, powerful people, empires have been brought down by a simple mistake on social media, misposting, etc., etc. So this is just to show, how powerful and how influential, what we're talking about today is. So what is social media? Social media can be defined in many different ways. The slide that I have in front of me right now reflects it from the perspective of, advertisers. As Co-Create, part of what we do is, we monitor and, place adverts or advise our clients on how to place themselves. And by clients, I don't mean clients in relation to products. It ranges from products, services, individuals, And hopefully, if time allows, I'll get into a bit of that. But the figures that you see on the screen are in relation to that. But, I should also say that, in defining social media, is that social media refers to online platforms and technologies that enable users to create, to share, and to interact with content in virtual communities and networks. These platforms facilitate the exchange of ideas, of information, of multimedia content among users, fostering connectivity and relationships. In fact, there are people who have never met and yet they collaborate on social media. There's people that you follow on social media and you feel like you know them, and yet you actually have never seen them, you've never met them, and you probably will never meet them. But because of their platforms and the way they use their platforms, you feel like you know them. So worldwide, Facebook as a social media platform is the one that has the most users, at least from the last data that I have. It had in excess of 2.8 billion monthly, activity from users. 2.8 billion. That is a significant, figure, saying that, the total number of people on the planet is about what, 8 billion now? YouTube, which is the largest video sharing platform, boasts of over 2 billion logged in monthly users, making it one of the most widely used social media platforms. Of course, one of the most common in Uganda is WhatsApp, which is a messaging application. This is it's owned by Facebook. You remember, if you follow these trends, Facebook bought WhatsApp, and WhatsApp has over 2 billion monthly active users worldwide. And I am absolutely sure that the people we have on the call today are WhatsApp users. There's Facebook Messenger, there's Instagram, which people previously thought was a platform for only photographs, but now Instagram is used for all kinds of things. In fact, I certain times search for, inspirational messages, mini sermons, from WhatsApp. Uh, and there are many others. But from the perspective of an advertiser, um, Facebook, and if I may just put it this way, the value of social media has been increased by the amount of money that companies are making on these social media platforms, but the amount of influence that all kinds of people, from, political leaders to entertainers to, social influencers, to the amount of influence they've been able to wield by getting their messages across platforms. And therefore, the relevance and the power of social media cannot be ignored. 2.6 million, there's a potential reach of 2.6 million on Facebook. Now, just think about a product and, it's a platform being able to put this product in front of 2.6 million people. This is quite significant. I'll just, the other one I'll talk about is LinkedIn, which is, mainly looked at as a professional platform. It has changed in so many ways. And, this is one that I would encourage you to get onto. So leaders and social media. I have lost some, ability to control my screen. There are things that I'm not able to see. So I cannot see if there's a question in the chat because some of the panels have disappeared, but it's all right. We'll still be able to to get through, to sail through, safely. So, leaders and social media. Can leaders do without social media? Well, certain people have argued that yes, and many people. I've met some people who say they are not on social media because they maintain a thinking that, in the words of the president of Uganda, social media is for Lugambo, which really means, social media is a place for small talk, for, uh, really the equivalent of, a sidewalk conversation. But the very same leader now uses social media as the main platform through which he communicates. In fact, you can go and look for the president's message, official message on Easter, and you probably will not find one that he wrote as a president or where he sat in front of a camera like he previously did. But if you go to his social media handles, you will find, that those are the platforms that he chose to use to communicate uh, his message. In fact, how did you find out about the reshuffle of ministers? Did you wait for it at the 9 p.m. news? If you did, then people who were following social media that day got it hours before you. Not just the announcement, but the full list. This here is the power of social media. And yeah, for those who say, I don't use social media because this and that, it's for unserious people, it takes too much time, etc., etc. The most serious, the most influential, even the richest people in the world are using social media. The richest man in the world decided to buy a social media platform. This just, goes to show you that this cannot be ignored, especially not by leaders. A lot is going on these platforms that you can totally be left behind. And the evening news, may it be a bit too late for you to make a decision. So, this is just to emphasize that you cannot do away with social media. So what are some of the uses of social media? Of course, direct communication. It provides a platform for direct communication with all kinds of stakeholders. And for a young person, you want to hear, what the leaders are saying. And by leaders, I don't mean government leaders. I mean leaders in the industry you're interested in. So whether even as to the level of whether your interest is ministry, as in preaching the word of God, because like I said earlier on, right now, if I, would like to just get some highlights from, highlights on, let's say, uh, uh, on warfare, I can go to any of the platforms and put, spiritual warfare. And there will be, nuggets here and there. And so there are certain people that I now follow and they're regularly in my feed. And even they know that, even if they have a congregation of 5,000 people, it does not equal to the number of people that watch these messages on social media. So regardless of the field that you are in, there are leaders in that field, and you want to use your social media platforms to follow those leaders. Even WhatsApp, that was previously just a messaging app, has now created communities, where you can follow the kind of content that you are interested in. So look at social media as a tool that brings the content that you are interested in front of you, because you can filter it by what you know exactly you want to follow. So it actually is for direct communication, by leaders in all kinds of fields, and you want to grow yourself into, a recognizable voice on these platforms. You start now. You start to build your profiles right now. And today, I'm not talking about how do you become a social media influencer or how do you become popular on social media. No, no, no. I'm broadly talking about how, as a leader, you productively use social media. So, social media is used for direct communication, it's used for networking and collaborations. Some of you are fans of BampLab, but we saw, recently that BampLab and the Private Sector Foundation Uganda collaborated. Now imagine, what would the Private Sector Foundation Uganda be doing, with these ladies who do sit down and talk about life on BampLab? This is a recognition of how powerful, social media is. And there's people who will listen to these five ladies and will not give, the executive director of the Private Sector Foundation Uganda even a minute. They will not listen to them because they're not interested. However, they're interested in these people that you see on the screen. And therefore, industry leaders are partnering, with those who know how to use social media to get messages out. So it's a huge networking and collaboration, space that you should use, to your advantage. There's a lot of professional sharing and professional knowledge and development on social media. It is a space that's used for brand visibility and credibility, and brand goes beyond, product. Brand includes, individuals. How many of you know Vanessa Nakate? She's not only known in Uganda, she's known beyond Uganda. Why? Because of, her activism and the work that she's doing around climate change and the environment. Look at her profile. Her profile says she's a born-again Christian, a Christian environmentalist, a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. Excuse me? Christian, UNICEF? Wow. Author of a Bigger Picture. And this is just a child. How could she have ever been known? The power of social media. And again, this is not about being an influencer. This is about, leading in a field. And so social media has leveled the ground because you can build yourself, you can build your brand at an affordable cost, and you become renowned all over the world in relation to a particular field. I keep asking people, think about, if you, if you, you know, uh, had an issue with health, if you had a diet issue, and you were told, hey, who is the best, who would you think of consulting in relation to diet? Kasenene comes to mind. Is he the best? You probably will say yes, but probably not. He just has learned how to use social media to portray himself as a visible expert. If you speak to, people in the field of nutrition and what have you, oh, there's more celebrated people. But he is the visible expert. He is the one who would come to mind for many. Why? Because of the way he has used social media. And, if there was no social media, how far would Dr. Kasenene have gone? So yes, it builds brand visibility and credibility, and this goes beyond products. It includes individuals. You can build your brand as a person on these platforms. Thought leadership, and I think part of what you are learning in this course is becoming a thought leader. So social media allows leaders to share insights, their vision, and their values, positioning them as thought leaders in their respective fields and inspiring others to follow suit. This post I used is of a gentleman called Faizo, who really has cut out a name for himself, becoming an out-of-home advertising analyst on LinkedIn. Who thought that that could ever be a thing? But yeah, he's created his name, in that regard. So strategies for effective use of social media. Number one is content strategy. Some of you may have come across Lisa. Lisa came to co-create maybe what? 4 years ago when she was just starting out, and she had a good idea, and it's amazing how far she has come. But you don't have to be a leader. The reason as to why I'm using her is that she had a content strategy. Many of us just go into social media and say anything, post anywhere on, in 30 minutes, we have commented on sports, entertainment, politics. We have commented on everything. And if we're even to look at our comments are inconsistent. And therefore, we are not really going in any direction. Our social media is littered with all kinds of things that are not related. Today it's this, tomorrow it's another, and it just shows that, you have no plan, no strategy, for the use of social media. One of the things you've got to do as a young leader is to develop a consistent and authentic content strategy aligned with your leadership goals. There's a young man who many of you, we know him as Uncle Mo. His strategy was very, very simple. He created content in a scene, very unlikely scene, a garage. And my goodness, the traction that he has gained, all kinds of people associate with him. I'm sure if you attend events, you have been to an event where he's an MC. Is he the best MC? In my view, I have seen very many, I have listened to very many better MCs than him. But he's the one getting invitations. Why? Because of the strategy he has used on social media. Are they inviting him to repair cars? Because the content, seems to show that he's in a garage and he's a mechanic. No, he's being invited to moderate high-level events, high level. And I have seen him at the highest level. Why? Because of the strategy he has used, showing that he can be effective at communicating. So do you have a content strategy for social media? This is not me telling you that everything that you say on social media should be planned. But I tell you that as you step into leadership, you will have to become more careful about what you post on social media. There are posts that I can no longer retweet. Why? Because of the positions that I am in. There are things I can no longer say on social media. Why? Because of the consistency I would like to portray on social media. So please have, however brief, have a content strategy. Yes, you may post about different things, but let there be something consistent that you speak about on social media. All right? So choose what you'd like to be known for. And you can probably start by planning. This week, I will have 5 posts in relation to this thing. And this is how these posts will build up. All right, so I'm looking at our time. And the beauty is this: technology has simplified things. You no longer have to create this content from scratch. You can leverage artificial intelligence tools to improve the content that you use. So some of the tools out there, definitely CapCut for those of you who like videos, Canva for those of you who want to have, you know, something that is, designed. This is for graphic design. Grammarly for those of you who love to write, so that your writing has a particular tone that is consistent with who you are, and many others. Even for those of you who are using LinkedIn, you can see that at the top of LinkedIn, there is a prompt there for you to get premium. And if you get premium, one of the things that's on LinkedIn Premium is an, AI assistant. It's embedded. And if I'm not mistaken, even on uh, even on Zoom now, there's an AI assistant, there you go, AI companion, and even summaries is actually AI, AI powered. So leverage, artificial intelligence, and you actually, I don't know what you use ChatGPT for, but you actually can go into ChatGPT and develop your content strategy. You know, just write down the kinds of things that you're interested in and ask ChatGPT what would be the best way, for me to segment this for, let's say, Twitter, for X. There will be ideas in there. Don't just take wholly, what ChatGPT has given you. Then custom it to yourself. And if there's something you'd want to refine it further, and then throw it back in there to ChatGPT. Many people are actually not using ChatGPT well because, they are not giving it enough guidance. These AI tools work best when you have guided them, to what you actually want. And if there's something that's not yet exactly the way you want it, fix it yourself or make a few more suggestions or put in more prompts that will come closer and closer, But you want to use these to have a strategy, but also to be consistent on social media. Engagement. And engagement means something different for each of us, depending on the level we are at. But I'm sure that you have heard about the exhibitions that were happening on X. A few people came together and said, you know what? These potholes in Uganda have just become too many. We're going to do an exhibition on potholes. And you remember what happened? 6 billion shillings, was availed to do work on the potholes. Why? Because certain people went onto social media and did something called an exhibition. The exhibition has since grown into all kinds of things. And right now, I think we are still in the phase of the parliament, exhibition. But, it's not the form I am talking about here. It is, the power of engagement on social media. That people who have never met the president will receive a response from the president on social media. People who will never receive an invitation to State House, have had the president write directly in response to something that they have said on social media. And, I'm just using the president, but it's all kinds of leaders at all kinds of levels, that are responding to people who they have never seen, will never meet. Why? Because of, the power of engagement on social media. So what is it that you're interested in as a leader? And, how can you start building that engagement on social media so that, you start to, become a thought leader in that area? So, actively engaging with followers by responding to comments, sharing relevant content, and participating in discussions is a way in which you can grow your engagement on social media. Again, I warn you, or I implore you, stay away from the habit of commenting on everything, sharing everything, that can distract people if they came to your social media platforms. You'd realize that the people that you follow most on social media are people who are consistent. There's a particular thing that you go for on their platforms. you know if you're a sports lover and you want to and it's the transfer window, it's transfer time, there's particular accounts that you will go to, and you know that when I go to this person's account, I am not going to be finding, buy a house, or the latest music and what have you. No, I am going to be finding the latest information on the transfer window. If you are interested in uh, if you're interested in marriage, there are particular pages you're going to go to, and you're going to find content on marriage. If you're interested in mentorship, and not just mentorship of the boy child, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts of Ugandans that you will go to, whether it is on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and you know that majority of the content you're going to find on this person's page is in relation to mentorship, and not just mentorship of the boy child. So you also want to build that consistency, because that's what will drive up engagement on the page. I did talk about thought leadership earlier on, and I could say a bit more about it, but because of time, I'm going to move on, because I know that I'm supposed to end around about 10 a.m. So that we can get into a time of questions and answers. But yeah, on thought leadership, it's important that you share thought-provoking insights, industry trends, and innovative ideas to establish authority and credibility. Again, start from where you are at, all right? And think through before you post. Many of the social media platforms have actually included the ability to edit. So after you put something out and you read it again, and it's so amazing that in the instance you have posted it, you're the one who has posted it. And when it has just been posted, you read it and you're like, oh my goodness, no, that's not what I intended to say. Oh no, I did notice that I made a mistake here. Many of them, allow for you to edit, but for many of them, you can only edit if you have a premium account. And I know for many of us, a premium account is not a priority, because for many of them, you've got to pay monthly. So please, think through before you post. Use AI tools, ChatGPT. After you've done the post, put it in ChatGPT and see other variations of it. It will help you even catch, some spelling errors. And don't be too quick. Don't be trigger happy to post. Today we're not talking about misinformation and disinformation, but many times we've been very quick, to post something that's actually untrue. I was on a call the other day with somebody, with people all over the world, and there was this particular person from Tanzania who was uh, uh, who started talking to me about the fact that Uganda had a new Bank of Uganda governor. I told him, oh, slow, hold up, hold up, hold up. And that was a social media post, for April Fools. So no, please don't take that holy. And because we are trigger happy, very quick to share, very quick to like. Certain times we will end up, posting information that's inaccurate. So please be in charge of your social media page, and let it not be in charge of you. When I was active as a journalist, many journalists lost credibility, because of being trigger happy and wanting to be the first person to post this. It will still be on your page, and nobody is going to go and see and check 7 journalists' pages to see who posted it earliest, who posted it 2 minutes before the other. Verify something fast. It is your page, and what you want on your page should reflect, who you are. So, yeah, and that's how you're going to be a thought leader. If you actually put thought into what goes onto your pages. So best practices for social media, I've already gone into some of those, but if I could just run through these very quickly. Number one, maintain professionalism and authenticity in all interactions. Please don't try and take on a persona that's not yours on social media. I think I've met some people where on social media, they're such a vibrant, and then you meet them in person and they can, barely get anything moving. Do not take on a persona that's not yours. Do not try to sound like other people. Be authentic. And you have noticed that certain people have chosen a new tone on social media and they have beaten out a path for themselves and they've even become a trendsetter. So yeah, maintain professionalism, but be authentic. All right. Because yes, we're also able to tell that no, 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 no. This here was created by an AI tool. Surely this person does not speak like this because they are not they're not a British man of 58 years. Because the only person who would post that way is someone who has grown up in Britain and is probably 50 and above years. So, be authentic. And this will help you grow your following more organically. Consistently monitor and analyze social media metrics to gauge effectiveness and adapt strategies accordingly. If you actually follow your social media, you will see the people that follow you, the kind of content that they're actually interested in, because yes, people follow you because of, a particular reason. And, when you post something that fits in with that, they will like it, they will share it. So monitor and see, do a bit of an analysis on what people come to your pages for. Respect privacy and um, confidentiality guidelines, especially in sensitive or regulated industries. And as an emerging leader, for the industry that you're in, please know, what is sensitive and, what can be, spoken about lightly, because, yeah, people have spoken very lightly about very serious things. And, they've caused damage and in some instances, irreparable damage. Because you've had people say the internet does not forget. And one of these days, you're going to apply for a job, and someone is going to do a very brief search on the internet, and it's going to bring up things that may cost you, a job of your dreams. So please, follow guidelines and follow. There's etiquette on each of these platforms. There's etiquette you should develop for yourself. There are words that I cannot use on social media platforms. It does not matter. Even if it's a private conversation between me and somebody else on WhatsApp, because what happens if that person takes a screenshot? What happens if somebody gets access to that person's chats? It can create damage. So yeah, maintain, that level of alertness. Encourage team members to participate in social media advocacy. This is if it is, for organization, company, and what have you. Social media advocacy has become such a huge thing. And I did just talk about, the exhibitions, which have been followed more than, some popular TV stations. Challenges and mitigation strategies. On social media, there can be an information overload. And yes, it is true that you can go down a rabbit hole. You open you open your social media for just a minute because you had your phone buzzing, and 30 minutes later, you don't even know how you got to where you are. It can, distract you. And so actually plan out your time on how you use social media. I wake up, and the first thing I do is I pray. And after I've said my prayers, I leave the bed without touching my phone. I go through my morning routine and I only touch my phone when I am fully dressed and going to leave the bedroom. Because I have noticed that if the first thing I do is touch my phone, I end up not praying. Or if I do, I pray very briefly because now I've gotten caught, I'm now running late. And there's a way in which social media will give you this this urgency, or it will give you this. It will take you because it has uh, aggregated the content that you're interested in. Yeah, it really will catch your attention. So plan the time you use social media. And so I schedule my use of social media. Have I managed to be completely disciplined? No, but I have more control over it. Above most of the people that I interact with. So my phone will buzz and I will not touch it. And so apologies to those who may have sent me WhatsApps and I have responded maybe an hour or 2 hours or even more than that later. It just means that on that day, there are certain things that are, that have kept me away from my phone. And, a buzz is not going to get me turning to the phone. The second, use negative feedback, or, part of, one of the, challenges with social media is it's open to a wide variety of people with all kinds of opinions. And so, you know, uh, yeah, you may get a backlash. You may get negative feedback, even on something that you thought was really largely positive. So, you've got to address criticism constructively and use it as an opportunity to actually grow. I've seen people who think that they can fight a war on social media and win it. Usually, you end up being the casualty because you're having a fight with people who don't have anything to lose. But you, the thing you're talking about, you have the stakes are high for you, and you end up rolling in the mud with people whose identity you will never know. People who probably set up an account just today and want to create some noise, and you get sucked into it. And so also be wise in knowing what you should respond to and what you shouldn't. Somebody in the PR world put up 2 posts yesterday to compare the way two industry leaders have responded to something, and it is clear, that one of the industry leaders is saying, "I care about what you're saying," and the other is saying, "Ah, who cares what you say? At the end of the day, we are going to do what we are going to do." The power of negative feedback and using it to your advantage. Time management, I've already spoken about this, but there's also an aspect of time management. The tools, many of the tools actually have ways in which you can schedule, what you're doing. Some of the posts that you see haven't even just been posted at that time. The person has carefully thought through the post and has chosen a time when they know that the people that follow them are on social media, and they know at Monday morning. Many of these people, when they've just arrived in office, that's when they have Wi-Fi, and that's when they can actually watch a video. So they schedule the video for Monday 8 a.m. so that it's up in your feed. But Monday 8 a.m., they are already having their first meeting, and they're not touching their phone or their device at all. For them, they're in a meeting, but it posts as if they have, they've scheduled that post, and that post comes on at that time. And so they're actually managing their time well. Now, you who thinks that this person, Dr. Magara, who you follow, is actually on at that time, you're there engaging very frantically. No, the man is in his first meeting, or he's there doing the first tooth extraction, and you think, yeah, really, if this very important person is on their phone at this time, even me, who am I? Who am I really? No, the person may not necessarily be on their phone at that time. Of course, you've got to take care of security concerns because whereas these platforms are quite helpful and they've brought all kinds of positives, they've also come with risks. So whatever device you're using, please, if you can have two-factor authentication on your device, so that you've got to sign in two ways. You do that for your WhatsApp, don't you? Because you don't want people to go through your WhatsApp. Do that for your Facebook, do that for your Twitter as well, and the other platforms that you use, so that if somebody tries to get into your account, it's more difficult for them to do so. So in summary, social media is a dynamic catalyst for leadership development, offering unparalleled opportunities for engagement, influence, and credibility. With effective strategies, leaders can harness the power of personal and organizational growth, driving innovation, collaboration, stakeholder relationships, etc., etc. Embracing social media empowers leaders to navigate the digital landscape and inspires their teams to shape positive change. As a young person, you cannot ignore the power of social media. In fact, social media is an equalizer, giving each of us pretty much the same opportunities. Use it to grow yourself other than, to bring down your reputation. It's interesting that today, one of the things that I read is, and I don't even know how it ended up being, coming, being the thing that I read this morning. But, it so happened that my devotional brought for me Luke 9:23, which is a passage where Jesus says, "Follow me." We're not looking for followers just for just. Our platforms are a call to people to follow us, but to follow us for a reason. When Jesus Christ said, "Follow me," his "follow me" was very deliberate. With each of your social media platforms, with each account that you open, you are telling the people out there, "Follow me." But you need to answer the question first: why should I follow you? As a leader, as a young leader, be clear on your why before you use these social media platforms. Be very clear on the why, so that we can grow when we follow you on social media. Thank you very much. I will end the presentation here. If you have any questions or comments, this is the time. Oh, there are some resources here, but these resources are mainly for those who would like to learn more about the use of social media, whether it's social media for business, for media marketing, for, the use of learning how to use ChatGPT, and for personal branding. There's a resource here where for, a few shillings, you actually can learn more on personal branding, on the use of ChatGPT, marketing on social media, etc., etc. All right, thank you very much. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have really benefited from this. Even for my next webinar, I'm sure there'll be something that I have applied from what you have said. And I hope everyone else has been blessed. So I would like to invite questions. You can type it in the chat and I read it for you. Or you can just put up your hand, like unmute your mic, and you speak.
Someone has referenced data theft exhibition. Yes, that's the one that where one of the known PRs in the country put the response of the two leading telecom companies, and you can tell whose response seem to care about the customer and which one seem to not to. Again, the power of social media. And, you can tell who put thought in their reply and who didn't. Social media can make you or break you. Social media can cause you a huge problem. Social media can gain you mileage in 30 seconds.
For example, I could ask maybe like the people who have been around from the very beginning. Say, for example, Mirembe Suya, would you like to share anything that has stood out for you? Or Alex Sajabi, would you like to share anything that has stood out for you?
Yes, thank you very much for the message. Basically, what has stood out for me is the fact that when we use social media, it's a reflection of who we are and the people that we want to attract. And we can use it to our advantage, but it can also be detrimental when we don't use it in the right way. So we should make sure that everything we do on social media is well thought through so that in the future we do not have to suffer the consequences of mismanagement of our social media sites. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There are some questions in the chat. Maybe I'm going to read them. Okay, so here, Alex Sajabi has said, the increasing habit is social media addiction. Maybe you could comment on that. And then the next question is, can everyone be an influencer, or what qualifies one to be an influence? And then the third question, or do you want to, the third question is, from your analysis, what gains in tangible terms have we made better than our fathers who did not have social media?
Right, thank you very much. I agree on Alex's comment on social media addiction. For anything, misuse is an abuse, and social media is no exception. So, you remember when I talked about scheduling time for social media? If you're not deliberate about scheduling time for the use of social media, you are going to get addicted. Why? Because the buzz, the buzz can hook you. Social media has advanced to the level that it gives you what you are interested in. And so you even start to justify it, but I'm not doing anything bad. And, actually, it's I'm being productive on it. Unless social media is where you earn your living from, you actually have got to make sure that you schedule your time so that it's not taking away from your productive time for work. Whereas it is a tool, for many of us, it is not our job. For social media influencer, for person who does social media marketing and what have you, yes, it is their job. So 8 to 5, they can be on it, checking all kinds of things. But for majority of us, it is a tool. It's not our actual work. So you really have to put up guardrails to ensure that you do not fall into addiction. And this is an addiction. Social media addiction is one that hooks you very slowly because of its seeming innocence. But then once you go down that hole, it's very hard to get out of it. Yes, it is true that there is social media addiction. And so schedule your time better, at certain times, just be off. Just be off social media, choose an hour, 2 hours in your day where you get onto social media and schedule, the stuff that you want to go out at a particular time. Use the tools that are available to actually, guard you from getting into addiction. There was a question on can everyone be an influencer, or what qualifies one to be an influencer? I'm guessing that you're using influencer here in the more traditional form, where there's many people following you and you are pushing certain products. You're leading opinions on certain things on social media. So can everybody be? No, not everybody can be an influencer at that level, but each of us has the ability to influence our circle. All right. Again, people come to your social media, doesn't matter what the platform is, for a particular thing. And you have the ability to influence them. Now, influence is both positive and negative. And so what kind of influence do you want to have on social media? You know that there are people who are popular for using social media to abuse others. There are people who are popular for using social media for bringing down people. There are people who are popular for using social media for telling lies. So what kind of, reputation do you want to have on social media? And I think you should define what influence means and which people, which people's messages are you, extending to influence those who are in your circle. Please be mindful about that as well. As to whether everybody can become an influencer and start to make money from social media, no, not everybody. It's those who have, mastered the use of social media for marketing and for that kind of influencing that will get ahead. And if you're that kind of person, some of the links that I have provided will be helpful in, guiding you in how exactly you can do that. Somebody asks, from your analysis, what gains in tangible terms have we made better than our fathers who did not have social media? It's very hard to make this comparison. Why? Because the world has changed completely. The person who asked this question, I don't know if you are old enough to listen to Billy Graham preach. But right now, you can access almost every documented sermon of Billy Graham from social media. How many people did he reach when he spoke in a stadium? Probably 500,000. Because at that time, there was no stadium that could sit 1 million people. And let's say it was an open field, 1 million people. Please go to any social media platform and look for Billy Graham sermon and see how many people it has been able to reach. So a comparison will be very unfair because, the times are completely different. 15 years ago, the president would appear on TV and say a few things. And mainly the people in Uganda, the ones, or Radio Uganda, and mainly the people in Uganda, the ones who listen to him. Now even the president of America can type something and in less than a minute, you have read it. It would be unfair to compare, what George W. Smith had and what Obama, Biden, Trump have at their disposal. So definitely, there's a lot. There's a huge difference that social media has made. There seems to be an elimination or victimization of people who are against homosexuality, yet it is a vice dangerous to anyone and everyone. How do we position ourselves to utilize social media to influence these billions of people in their drowning world? Sylvan, I'm not going to respond to your question directly, but I am going to use your question to emphasize the power of social media. You have a message and somebody else has a contrary message. When you read, who seems to be louder is the person who has analyzed social media and is deliberately using social media to drive their message. If you took a poll on homosexuality worldwide, most likely those who are for are going to be a lot less than those who are against. And yet it seems like those who are for are much louder. They are more deliberate on the way they use social media. They are more, you can tell that there is a strategy. About 10 years ago, I was seated in the chaplain's, I got St. Francis Chapel, I was seated in the chaplain's office with an American. And the chaplain asked about homosexuality and used the context of, sin and what have you, and how we're supposed to respond as Christians and no love and what have you. And this person said something that stayed with me. He said, all sin is sin. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. Because how was I going to manage what was going to come up after this, with the chaplain? The person said, but there's a huge difference when there is a strategy and when there isn't. Because as a Christian and as a church, if you know that there is a strategy that is meant to bring you down, you do not deal with that thing the way you would ordinarily deal. And you can see who is implementing a strategy and who isn't, who is shooting in the dark and who is targeting. So if I could use your question to just emphasize, there is an effective way of using social media. And those who learn that way will gain more traction than those who know about and think that things will just work themselves out. There has got to be a deliberate plan, a deliberate strategy, if you are to harness, the power and the good that can come of social media. What should someone consider about the content? What one is capable of doing and talking about, or what benefits the society? To each of us, gifts have been given, and not all of us have different gifts. I cannot just say what your gift is, what you're able to, and I will tell you, it's not generic, it's not as obvious. If somebody was to ask me, if I was to ask people, what content do they think I'd be most interested in putting out on social media? I guarantee you many of the people will actually go amiss. But those who know me well know the kind of things that I am actually interested in. I can speak on many things, but there are things where I have a deep interest. I'd encourage you that if you're going to put content out, you may want to start with content where you have a deep interest, where it will not feel like you are working and struggling in order to get to that content. Because the other thing you want to be is be authentic. And authenticity speaks for itself. Of course, there are people who have perfected the art of sounding authentic even when they are not. But that's very few people. For many, it is, it's what you're interested in that you will deliver in an authentic way. And for whether it is social media or it is a person-to-person interaction, we are more drawn to authentic people. We are repelled by people who are pretending. And so, yeah, if you're pretending, yeah, we'll notice it and we'll leave your content there. But if you are authentic, and doesn't matter what the topic is, those who are interested in that topic will come to you. Just try and do an analysis and see. People are speaking about all kinds of things, all kinds. Just type in anything, the most even ignored, useless thing, type it in. There's somebody who is speaking about it. So yeah, find your why, find what you're interested in, find what really gets you moving, and start there if you're looking for what content you should be putting out. All right, great. I think that's all the questions.
Yes, it seems that is all the questions. Unless if someone has something more they want to ask. If not, thank you very much, Mr. Gabriel. I'm going to ask Adam Katongole to give us a vote of thanks. And yeah, we shall release you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A good morning to everyone here. Well, it has been a very good session. Actually, we have benefited a lot. Me myself, I've benefited a lot, and I believe I'm going to work on whatever has been told to me by Mr. Gabriel. I want to take this honor to thank you, Mr. Gabriel, for giving us your time and impacting useful knowledge to us, because not a lot of people can spare their time on a Saturday morning. Another person would have chosen to, go out and sleep and do anything else, but you choose to come and impact knowledge to us, the youth. So I want to thank you for that. And then I want to thank everyone else who has been able to attend this meeting. I want to thank the people in charge for putting together this meeting. And above all, I want to thank God who has enabled us be alive and be able to attend this meeting. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Gabriel, for coming. I will share the link of the video on the group. However, if you're not on the group and you'd still want the video, you can send me a message. Let me put here my WhatsApp number, and you can send me a message. I'm going to put my number in the... Yes, it will also be on YouTube, but I'll upload it maybe later today, not right this moment. But you can send me a WhatsApp, and then I will send you the video. Okay? Okay, thank you all for today. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Blessings.
Thank you.
Blessings.